Hello, and welcome back to my channel. This is going to be my review of Daniel Caesar's Never Enough. This album came out in April of 2023 this year, and so far it is my favorite album of the year. I think this is absolutely spectacular. It was definitely worth the 4-year wait from his last project, in my opinion. I think that he really showed up and showed out on this entire project. There is hardly any low points across the entire thing. Let's get into it. Straight off the bat, Ocho Rios is a fantastic opener. It is, I feel like I'm entering a new world that he's creating with this song alone. I feel like it's him laying out sort of a new sound. It's not too far from what he's done in the past. Obviously, it's still an R&B album, but it feels like he's sort of reinventing himself, which we'll talk a little bit about later. So this is a fantastic opener. It's one of my favorite tracks, one that I listen to a lot. And I would say my other favorite tracks are probably Let Me Go, which I didn't think would be able to be topped. Just when it came out as a single, I couldn't stop listening to it. It was one of my favorite tracks. And then the album came out, and 2 other songs were added to that list, and that was Always and Cool. I'm kind of torn between which one I like more. I know Always right now is the more popular one, as that's currently his number 1 on Spotify for most popular. Both of them are fantastic. I love both of them. Like I said, I can hardly find a single flaw within this entire album. And these songs are just fantastic. I feel like these 2, since they're back to back, this is like the magnum opus. This is the shining moment of the album. It's not quite in the middle, but it's like right there, so it works. Like, this is the peak of his performance in the album. I mean, both of the songs are very laid back, very mellow, and just amazing love songs. That's, pretty much all I can say. They're just fantastic to me. I think the production is spot on. He slides on it perfectly. I like that these are no features. I think that he didn't need any help on these. I do think the features are very well on this album. I really like Mustafa. Amar Apollo wasn't my favorite. It's not that he did a bad job. I just kind of felt his feature a little bit unnecessary on the album. He just didn't seem to really add much to Buyer's Remorse. He did a good job, but honestly, Daniel Caesar could have just done the outro himself, and I think it would have turned out just as good. But my favorite feature by far would be Ty Dolla $ign on Homosexual. I think that the 2 of them are a perfect combo that I never knew I needed. Daniel and Ty both harmonizing on that song, and just when they come together on their vocals, it's so smooth, and they're both so charismatic on the song. It's just infectious to listen to. It's another one of my favorites that I keep going back and listening to, even when I'm not revisiting the album as a whole, which I have been doing a lot since it came out. This is definitely one of my favorites of the year so far, even though this year has been pretty slow, as I said in my video of what I was listening to in the month. It's been a slow year, but this album has kind of been holding up this year alone for me, almost. There's been a couple other albums, but this one is definitely, without a doubt, the shining contender right now for album of the year, and I won't be surprised if it stays at my number 1 spot. But anyways, back into it. Serpent with Feet was another really good feature. I always like when they show up. I haven't gotten into their music at all, but anytime I hear them on a song, they always do really good. So that's someone I know I'll need to get into a little bit more, especially if they make music similar to what Disillusioned sounds like. Then I will definitely really like their stuff. The sequencing, I think, of the album was really good. There was only one kind of flaw I had with the sequencing. I think that Unstoppable didn't. I think the message of the song worked as a closer, but sonically, I don't think it was the best. It seemed like it was there could have been another song after it, or it even seemed like it could have been the intro song instead of the final track. I think actually that Cool, although I love Cool and Always being back to back, I think those two flow really well and work nicely off of each other. I think that Cool could have been a really good final track. Just sonically, I think it would have closed out really nicely to the full entire album with just how easy it sort of is, and lack of better words. But that's not a huge deal. It's just my preference. I think that would have worked a little better, but it doesn't really take away from the album too much. I just think that it kind of leaves you wanting more, which is good. I would rather have an artist leave me wanting for more than basically having too much, as we've seen from a couple other projects this year. I would say the only low point in the entire album that I can even think of is on Vince Van Gogh, which I know people really like this song. I've seen on especially Twitter a lot. I know a lot of people on Twitter really like this song. I'm not a big fan of the spoken word part. I don't think it's the fact that it's like pitched down, but I just think it doesn't flow well, and I don't know. It's just he starts off singing, and his singing is always really nice and smooth, and then you have this abrupt spoken word that comes in, and like I said, it fits, it works in the album, but I'm just personally not a big fan of it. That's the only part of the track I don't like, is the two spoken word segments on that song. But I wouldn't say Vince Van Gogh is a bad song. It's well produced, he sings well. I just don't really like that. That is definitely my least favorite track of the whole bunch, which I feel like is saying something because, as I said, this is my number one album of the year so far. So maybe that part will grow on me more as the year continues on, but as of now, not a huge fan. I do really like the cover art as well. I love just the whole aesthetic he had for the singles too, with all the blue and everything. Again, I feel like it was good sort of world building in a sense. I don't know. Blue, I feel like, is the color of this album. Like, obviously, literally it is, because the album cover is all blue and the singles had all the blue on them. But I mean, like, I don't know. It just feels blue in a sense. Like, it just, the whole aesthetic matched the sound. He did very well with that, of, like I said, creating this world for the album. Makes me very excited to see what's to come, especially because in a recent interview after the album came out, Daniel Caesar talked about making music that is a little bit more meaningful and not just making music to make music. Because personally, while I like his first two albums, or first three, whatever, they don't live up to this one. Right away, I knew that this was my favorite album by him. It's fantastic, and he really seems like he is striving to make something of worth. This is not just a project that he made just to make ends meet. This seemed like there was true passion and true effort and true love put into this project. So I think that really shines through, and it makes me very, very excited to see what is to come. Do I want to wait another 4 years for the next project? No, but if it comes out this good, I'm certainly willing to, because if it's anything even close to this, it'll be great. But yeah, that is pretty much the album as a whole. Not much else to say. I love every track from beginning to end, and yeah, I would give this album about a 96%. Tell me what you think about it, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye now.